morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at, a Fusion Strike price guide. Having a look at the rough value of some of these cards from Fusion Strike. I told you, do not buy singles between pre-release and release. I did that video a week or so ago. But we're past release now, and a lot of cards being open, and I've already seen that the prices are dropping down quite nicely, so now's a pretty good time to have a little bit of a look at what these cards are roughly going for. Maybe in a couple of weeks they will continue to drop and end up being a little bit lower, but I've certainly seen prices slow down and stabilize over the past few days as the set has been released, so this seems like a pretty good time to do so. As always, I am more than happy to come back in a couple of weeks and do this again if it needs to be done. I am giving you prices here, but please do bear in mind these are not guaranteed prices. I'm not saying that the prices aren't going to change. In fact, I told you they're quite likely that they will. So, yes, this is a pretty good rough guide as this comes up, but bear in mind things can change, and you won't necessarily find a listing for the price that I've given you. But I have looked around a bunch of places, TCG Player, eBay, bunch of others, and this seems like a pretty good approximation. So the most expensive card in the set, by now I'm assuming most of you probably know, is the Alternate Art of Mew VMAX. You should be expecting to pay somewhere in the region of $165. I've seen it go for more, I've seen it go for less, as is the case for pretty much every card on this list, but $165 right now seems about fair. And if we compare that to cards in the past, that is a little bit less than you will pay for something like Rayquaza or Umbreon from Evolving Skies, and that's about right. Remember that the different amount of Alternate Art VMAXs in Fusion Strike is lower than in other sets. So that means that there will be more of each of the individual Alternate Art VMAXs, so we would expect the price to be a little bit lower than the Alternate Arts from Evolving Skies. But that's still a pricey card. It might come down a little bit in the future, but honestly, for the number one card in the set, this seems about right. And to be fair, there are a bunch of factors at play here. Firstly, it's an Alternate Art VMAX, the pull rates are low. Secondly, it's Mew, and Mew is super popular. And thirdly, Genesect Mew looks like it is the best deck in the game right now. The early testing results are very strong. The early tournament results are very strong. Expect this to be a card that is very sought after. Now, at number 2, we're kind of tied between Espeon and Gengar, both of which are coming in at around $150. But I've seen a much larger variance for Espeon. Over on eBay, I saw Espeon going as low as $130 and as high as $190. There are times Espeon has actually sold for more than Mew. And I like Espeon. I really like it as a card in terms of preventing effective attacks other than damage. It's cool. But people aren't really playing it like that at the moment. So really, when it comes to Espeon, it is the desirability of the card and the popularity of Espeon as a Pokemon that really are driving this price. It's not a playability standpoint. Whereas with Gengar, it absolutely is. Gengar has been a top-tier deck over in Japan. Certainly, when it released, it was crazy good. We're unsure exactly how good it's going to be over here. Certainly, the signs in Japan are that it will fall off a bit and not be as good as some of the other top decks. But it's Alternate Art, it's a VMAX, it's Gengar, it's playable. That kind of explains why we're up quite so high here. Now, the Mew VMAX Rainbow Rare comes in at $90 roughly. And basically everything I said about the Alternate Art of Mew VMAX is true here, except it's not as cool and it's easier to pull. Now, don't get me wrong. As far as VMAXs go, this is one of my favourites, and let's be clear, right, it ain't no Chandelure. Chandelure has the best artwork of any VMAX. I don't really think that's up for debate, but this is still cool artwork as it goes. It's very clean, it's very nice, and it's still that amazingly playable Mew VMAX, which is part of the best deck in the format, and it's still Mew that is hyper popular. $90 for a Rainbow Rare is extremely high. There isn't another Rainbow Rare which even sniffs this list of top 10, but the combination of Mew and how playable it is enough to pop it up here. And while we're talking Mew, Mew V, the Alternate Art, comes in at about $85. And at this point, some of you might have noticed, well, hang on a second, Wassy. That is 3 Mew in the top 5. Yeah, this isn't the last Mew in the top 10 as well, incidentally. It's a Mew set. And firstly, Mew is super popular, and that is always going to drive the price up. But Mew is a stunningly playable card right now. Time will tell whether it remains. Maybe it remains amazing. Maybe it falls down. Maybe another deck comes in to overtake it. I don't know. All I can tell you is that Mew is crazy good now. And there are people that like blinging out their decks. And there are collectors that like Mew. And this is a perfect storm to push Mew up. Now, I am quite surprised by Inteleon, which is the 6th most expensive card, the alternate art of the VMAX, coming in at $65. Now, I know Inteleon is not popular like Gengar or Mew, and I wouldn't suggest it is for a second. But you're still talking an alternate art VMAX, and the pull rates are not good. And it's a very playable card. This also has an argument for being one of the best decks in the format. I can see this taking down big tournaments. 2 energy, although Rapid Strike Pokemon, so really 1 energy, 140 damage. And you actually put it in your hand so it can't be removed or can't be lost when you get KO'd, etc. And then you can discard a water energy from your hand to place 2 damage counts on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Inteleon might be the best VMAX in the set. And if it's not, there's a very good chance it's second best after Mew. So seeing it down, not much less than a third of the value of something like a Mew, less than half of a Gengar, this surprises me. This seems too low. Now, the Genesect V Alternate Art comes in at $50, and this one's a weird one to me. Because on the one hand, $50 seems cheap for an alternate art of a Pokemon V, which is one of the most ridiculous cards we've ever seen, and the other half of that ridiculous Fusion Strike deck. Because free energy 210 is good, and an ability that lets you draw till you got as many cards in your hand as Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. I mean, if you've got 6 Fusion Strike Pokemon out, and you should, and you can empty your hand, you can use Genesect 4 times, 1 per Genesect, and draw 24 cards. It's a crazy broken card. This is an alternate art. And sure, I know the pull rates for alternate art Vs are much better than the pull rates for alternate art V Maxes, but $50 for a card this cool, that is the best version of a card this playable, I could see this one jumping in the future. And then it's only $5 more than Celebi V Alternate Art, and Celebi V is not playable. Celebi V is not good, Celebi VMAX is not good, no one's playing it. There's a tiny bit of potential there. I'm not saying it's absolute trash garbage, but I am saying that compared to things like Inteleon, Gengar, Mew, Genesect, etc., a lot of the other cards on this list, I mean, certainly in the top 10, this is the only card that I would happily say isn't playable. And yet, it's coming in at number 8, and it's $5 below Genesect. And don't get me wrong, the artwork here is absolutely stunning from a collectability standpoint. I understand why people love this card. It is an over-the-top, ridiculous, beautiful card. However, it's $5 less than Genesect, which is also a super cool alternate art card, but has the benefit of being ridiculously playable. This doesn't seem right to me, ladies and gentlemen. Celebi, and I've looked everywhere, right? I've looked at a bunch of different websites. It is about $5 less than Genesect. That price is right as I record this video. I have looked around. I have run the numbers. I don't understand why Celebi is so close to Genesect. I would expect the gap to widen over time. Regular Mew VMAX comes in at $30 here, which is absurd for just a regular VMAX. We do not see regular VMAXs hitting these prices. But, I mean, look, I'm not going to keep repeating myself. It's Mew VMAX. It's Mew. It's possibly the best VMAX we've got. It's possibly the best deck in the game right now. It's a pure playability thing, but so many people want this. That's where we are. And then the final one on the list, we've got, this is the list of top 10, Mew V Full Art comes in at about $27. I like doing $5 intervals. I like all of my numbers ending with a 5 or a 0. Couldn't do it for Mew V. $27 was right, and I don't like myself for putting it as that, but 25 was too low and 30 was too high. I'm sorry, I did my best, alright? I did my best. And this is very similar to what we've been talking about. It's a full art, so the pull rates aren't amazing. It's Mew, everybody loves Mew. And you need Mew V if you're going to play Mew VMAX. I actually got a nice little attack, 70 damage, and go back into your deck. It's a good attack to copy with Mew VMAX. But the fact of the matter is, it's Mew V. It's the full art version of it. It's the best version of it. And everybody likes Mew. And that's why it's so high on the list. So that's the top 10, but there are a few others I want to just bring attention to as we go. Elisa Sparkle is the top of the full art supporters, coming in at about $25. It's a playable card in Fusion Strike decks because it gets your Fusion Strike energy and attaches from the deck. Plus, it's a Lisa that everybody loves. This seems a little bit low to me, but I'm not complaining. I love the artwork. It's a great card. It's a playable card. Elisa's a popular character. This was always going to be number one. But then again, Shauna comes in at $15. And that seems way... And I know we've had full art Shauna before, and I know that Shauna might not see as much play at the moment or whatever, but Shauna's still a very playable card. Shuffle, draw 5. It's not going to displace the main ones, but it's still there as a nice little extra option. I think Shauna at 15 and Elisa at 25 is a bit weird, and I do think Elisa should be slightly higher, but then again, Shauna's more popular than Elisa. I would expect the players to go towards Elisa and the collectors to go towards Shauna, so just putting that out there that it's a little bit weird. And the highest value gold card at the moment is the Gold Flaffy. It's coming in at $25. It's still actually not really seeing much play, Flaffy. It's a card I want to be a lot higher, but actually there's only 5 gold cards in the set, so there aren't any really great gold cards. The pull rates are very low, and Flaffy ends up number 1. It's the only actual gold Pokemon in the set, so yeah. And regular Genesect V is coming in at $12. And on the one hand, $12 for a regular Pokemon V, most of which are $1 or $2 cards, is a bit weird. And on the other hand, this seems too low. Like Genesect, as far as I'm concerned, Genesect is borderline broken. I think there is a very, very good chance that when Pokemon Vs are over, and I sit down to make my list of the top 10, top 20 Pokemon Vs we ever had, I could see Genesect being number 1. Like, literally number 1. And I know there's other strong competition, but I could see Genesect going down as the literal, actual best Pokemon V ever, because it's got a good attack and a broken ability. Any Fusion Strike deck you ever play is going to need 4 Genesect, not 2, not 3, but 4. And even things like Crobat that are amazing, Crobat ain't played as a 4 of very much at all. This is. So when you combine how broken it is, and the fact that it is going to be played as a 4 of in every deck where it's actually played, and we don't know how good Fusion Strike's going to be. We've had one set. There could be more great Fusion Strike Pokemon in the future. I think Genesect is going to go up. I think right now $12 is an absolute bargain for Genesect V, and I would not be surprised to see this shoot up in the future. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your price guide. There's your top 10 and a few other things to note. If it's not on this list, it's not a particularly expensive card. You're going to be paying less than $25 no matter what it is. Even something like the Alternate Art Greedent, it's an amazing card. It's not that expensive. And I love me some Greedent. Such a cool card. Right, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I think, but now it's over to you. Tell me which of these cards you've picked up. Tell me which of these cards you think are going to go up or down in value in the future. Tell me which of these cards are on your shopping list. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.